guys? So it's the 8th war of the season. We're up against this ally named REA, or known as Revolutionary America. You guys might know them because this is the ally that the Intercept is in. So we're starting off in Pat 3 against an I-Bomb. And I-Bomb's not the most difficult ghost fight because you can convert the poisons he puts on you into passive furies, and when that happens, your ghost is just going to start hitting even harder. Also, on this node, there's a chance that whenever he has the armor up, you can get a shock debuff applied to you. It doesn't really do that much damage. You can also convert those to passive furies and hit even harder. Moving on to the next fight, it's this long shot. There's really nothing to be worried about on this fight using Torch. I think this node has Hurt Locker and something else, but Torch is Incinerate immune, so you really don't have to worry about the node. Watch how fast this fight goes, and there's no risk in it. I think I got hit once because I was just playing clumsy. Now we're moving on to this Pat 2 Hyperion. I've taken Pat 2 multiple times this season. It's really not that difficult with the right champs. Like Ghost, you really don't have to rely on your block most of the time. You can just rely on your phase and just don't get hit. In this fight, I put on a tech power booster, but it wasn't really for this fight. It was for the next 2 fights. Tech power boosters don't work against Cosmic Champions. Also, for this fight, I put an Invo boost just cause there's always a chance that he can go to an SP3, and watch, in this fight he does go to an SP3 one time, so Invo didn't go to waste. Now we're moving on to this Kingpin, who's right after the Hyperion. Really nothing too difficult either for this fight. Just be careful about his specials, like his special 2, you really don't want him to throw that, because there's a chance, I don't know how he works, but he goes unstoppable for a few seconds right after that. So I just opted out into baiting his SP1, and then just recycling my SP2s, and it was GG's. So, final fight of the warrior. It's this Mangog on Hazard Shift and Stun Immune. Right now I'm already super boosted for this fight, but thinking about it now, you really don't need to boost super big for this fight. One thing I overlooked was Mystic Dispersion. In this fight, whenever I would lose my dexterity buff, right? He would actually gain a lot more power than I expected. Maybe it's something having to do with his abilities, or the user was running super high MD. Super simple fight. I get to my SP2. I'm hitting him, hoping for a few furies. I drop it, boom. And now my SP3 should kill. Have to hit the chat with hardest fight on the map, not gonna lie, for real. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So this war we won. It was a super close war until the end. After we won, they just threw the war. And as an ally, we died one time, which was really good. Now we're moving on to war number 9. I started from Pat 9, which is Hazard Shift. This user isn't running suicides, so I don't really have to worry about the spore damage at the start with using Ghost. But like, if I stayed far, I could have avoided some of the spore damage, but I just wanted to finish the fight as fast as I could, so I just YOLO'd. Also, I forgot to mention, this war is against a Spanish ally named Febos. It was pretty fun in the chat room. After that first fight, I noticed that I wasn't running suicides, so I decided to change my mask boost real quick. It's going to really help me in my next few fights. Now, after that Omega, we have the Stealthy. It's really nothing too difficult to Ghost, especially as double mediums. They give you a lot of power through your phase. But in this fight, there was one moment where, like, everything went south. Luckily, I didn't die. Yeah, I got parried here. He comboed me, and it's like, all of it was crit except for one hit. Luckily, Ghost is a beast. I dropped my special 2, and boom. Moving on, we have this Apoc on EMP mod. I took this fight last war, but it was against an Iron Man Infinity War. It's not the most difficult Ghost fight once you know what you're doing. The nodes may look a bit intimidating, but she works really well here. So the game plan is to start off with a PS1, tech boost, let him hit into your face a few times so you can build to a power. You ideally want to be above an SP2 or like right after an SP2. Drop that SP2. You'll get to another SP2 if you're using a 150% tech boost, or you'll get to an SP3 if you're using a 200% tech boost. If you get to an SP3, you don't really have to worry, because you'll get a little bit of power back. Use your face, build up to another bar of power, and then once you drop your SP1, he should be dead. Next, we move on to this Black Widow Deadly Origin on Pack 2. I'll be totally honest, I hate fighting Black Widow Deadly Origin. At the start of this season, she ruined my deadlift season on Hazard Shift using Ghost. So basically, I was face intercepting, right? And then I dashed in late, which gave her the evade thing. And then she basically comboed me to death. It was pretty sad. She only had 4% left. So on this fight, after I got comboed, because after I got parried, right? I was determined not to die to another Black Widow Deadly Origin. Now we move to this Ebony Maw. I used my torch pre-fight just to make the fight go faster. I don't need him for anything else. The reason why I went out after I put the torch pre-fight is because there's sometimes this glitch where it really doesn't activate. So in this fight, you really don't have to think too much about it. It's a rank 3 torch versus rank 2 Ebony Maw, and right now my torch is boosted too. Watch how fast he drops. That fight only took like 30 seconds. My final fight of the war is another Mangog on Hazard Shift. This time I really didn't boost that heavy because I knew what I was doing going into this fight. I was hoping to get some Mr. Fantastic pre-fights, but I couldn't get him, so it's not the biggest problem. Get to my SP2. I had 3 Furies. I got him super low. Now I'm just trying to rush back to an SB1 should be able to kill him. I wasn't using tech boost for this fight. And boom. This warrior, we had a spam boss, and after a lot of talking, we decided to let TJ take it with its rank 3 stick 200 Killmonger. Our other options were Moleman and Nick Fury. Though they work, Killmonger with voice energy makes this fight a joke. Though it takes 2 minutes, he ends the fight with like 100% HP. That's because the synergy with Void lets Killmonger purify one of the debuffs and regenerate, I think it's 1% health per debuff purified, right? And also another thing that makes Killmonger great for this fight is his True Strike. So every time he baits his special and dashes right back in after, he gets the True Strike. And the safety thing about Killmonger is his indestructible buff, and he can get clean intercepts by just blocking and hitting him. TJ did fantastic that fight. This war we won by like a landslide, 20-6, and as a battle group we did really well. We only died one time again. So there's 3 more wars to the season. Hopefully we end Plat 1. We just have to keep playing well.
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.